Montgomery. I want to thank all of you for coming here for the work you're doing to cover all the things that have been taking place in our city. I want to thank our City Council President, C.C. Calhoun, Councilor Beard, Councilor Zemansky, County Commissioner Costanza, I see Sheriff Cunningham. Sorry about that, Sheriff. My contacts are, I thought that was you. But thank you for being here. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Good. We want to thank everybody that's been helping us. Our partners with LEA, ATF, FBI, all of our federal partners, Capitol Police, everybody that's been involved. And certainly we want to thank the community for what they have been sharing with us and letting us know since these unfortunate circumstances. I just want to be very brief, and I'll turn it over to Chief Great Boys, and we'll open up for any questions that you may have. Last night's incident was unfortunate, but it was certainly avoidable. It was an incident of bad judgment, selfish behavior, and one that truly put the lives of many, many innocent people in danger. This weekend, we have had thousands of people come to our city for things like the State Fair, for things like homecomings and other football games that we've had going on, along with other events that have been going on around the city. 99.99% of people have been great. Our community partners have been great. Our law enforcement has been outstanding in covering these events and covering things in the city. Our community has been great. A lot of great fun that has been had and shared along these last several days. But unfortunately, it only took one or two bad people with bad intentions to change not only their fortunes, but the fortunes of many, many other innocent people. People who really should not have been caught in anything that took place, and something, again, that we prepared for. Talking with Chief Great Boys leading up to this weekend, talking about coverage at the State Fair, talking about coverage at ASU's homecoming, talking about coverage at the Morehouse Tuskegee Classic, and talking about coverage in our neighborhoods for those who are just going about their day. Our law enforcement officers were not off. They're encouraged not to be off, strongly encouraged. They adhere to that. They sacrifice. They missed some ball games. They missed some birthdays because they were protecting and serving this community. And even with that, and having a couple of units within a short distance, we had something like this happen because of a disagreement, because of something that, again, we believe could have been avoided and should have been. And I want the community to be well aware that for us, this is not acceptable. We're not going to normalize this. We're going to do whatever we can, not only to arrest those responsible, we're going to do whatever we can to arrest those connected in any way, who knew what may have happened, or who knew what could take place. We're not going just to stop with those folks that were pulling the trigger last night. For us, it's a lot deeper than that, because the impact is a lot deeper than that. The impact is beyond those who were physically injured, those who were mentally and emotionally injured, those who are working downtown, those who live downtown, those who do business and own businesses downtown. That's a problem for us. And so, Chief Great Boys and I have been in talks consistently throughout the night about this issue and this incident, and we're going to leverage all the resources and all the partnerships that we have to that. So I want us just to be very clear that this is not going to be accepted here, and we're going to look at every issue that we can. We'll look at every ordinance that we can talk to the city council about. If we find some bad actors there, we're going to talk to them about that and ask for their support, which they've already agreed to give. But we're going to look at everything that we can, because this does not fit Montgomery. This is not who we are. This is not who we have been. When you have all the events going on that we had this weekend, with a lot of celebration, a lot of economic impact, a lot of goodwill and support for charities, Kiwanis Club, so many other organizations that are doing good things. It is just, to me, very problematic that it only took one or two people a few seconds to do something very stupid and very dangerous that costs the lives of two people right now and may impact many, many others moving forward. And with that, I just want to say to the families, we've been praying for you since we heard about this. Our church prayed for the entire community. I know faith leaders who reached out to me all around this community did so as well. We're grateful for those prayers, and we're grateful for the actions as well of innocent people who came to help their neighbor, who came to help people, strangers they didn't even know before this circumstance, before this situation. So we're going to be in touch with those families, and we're going to make sure that those families understand how much we grieve with them. And we know that it may not be the same as someone who has lost that person who they were just talking to minutes or hours before and won't have that opportunity again. And for those that are injured and may not necessarily have the same outcome, but who have physical and mental scars that will have to be dealt with moving forward. So we're going to talk to them, and I plan to reach out to them, specifically myself, and we're going to continue to make sure this is a top line priority, not only for our city, but our community. And I think by looking at the leadership that we have here, again, across the city and across the county, you can tell that this is all hands on deck, and everybody's on one accord to do whatever needs to be done to make sure we bring the criminals to justice swiftly, and that we make sure justice is served severely. To send a message that this is not going to be accepted in Montgomery now or at any time moving forward. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief Gray Boys to provide any facts and details, and then I'll come back and I'll take questions, and I'll close it out with some other thoughts that we want to share as well. Chief.
Thanks, sir. I'm collecting my thoughts right now because of how angry I am. So I'll ask your forbearance as some of that might show through. Last night at 11:31, our officers responded to reports of shootings that they could hear over there at the corner of Viv and Commerce Streets. As a result of this incident, we now presently have 14 confirmed total victims of this shooting. Of those 14 confirmed victims, 2 are deceased. 2 are no longer with us. "17-year-old Jeremiah Morris is unfortunately no longer with us. 43-year-old Shalonda Williams is no longer with us, both deceased from this incident. And of course, as I stated, there was 14 total victims. These 2 were among them. So of course, my feelings of anger and my heart is out there for their families. 5 of the victims have now life-threatening injuries. That's where we are presently. 5 have life-threatening injuries. 7 have non-life-threatening injuries. Breakdown on this bothers me, and every victim bothers me. I take it very personally. But this is of note. 7 of the victims are under the age of 20. The youngest of these victims is 16 years old. We know there are multiple calibers of ammunition used in this incident. We recovered multiple shell casings from multiple different weapons. We also recovered multiple weapons from the scene of this incident. We know that at least 2 of the victims, 2 of these 14 people, were armed. this incident. This started as a result of an individual, one of these 14, who we believe was targeted, in which basically an exchange of gunfire erupted. When that exchange erupted, multiple people in the crowd, because this was a crowded area, pulled their own weapons and started discharging. Now, as you can imagine, that could be a very chaotic situation, and every weapon has to be accounted for, and every piece of evidence has to be processed. Now, one thing I want to make perfectly clear, we are bringing every resource to bear. I've been in communication with multiple federal agencies, from the ATF to the FBI to the U.S. Attorney's Office. I've been in communication with the U.S. Marshals. My officers have been in communication with the Alabama Fusion Center. Been in communication with Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. I've been in communication with Alabama Law Enforcement Agency. And of course, we've been in communication with the Montgomery County DA's office as well. I'm making this clear because every one of these agencies stands with us and is working with us to pursue the individuals responsible. Now, one thing I want to make clear too is that purposefully I will not release any information that I believe will compromise this investigation. So when we do open it up, I will answer questions as well as I can, but I want people to understand this investigation we are laser focused on, and we are not going to let anything distract us from going after the individuals responsible. I've been in communication with Crime Stoppers, and one thing I want people to be aware of, if anybody has any information, you have a responsibility for this community and to help the people in this community to give that information to us. And I would ask people to call Crime Stoppers at 215-STOP. That's an area code 334. The number actually is 215-7867. They are offering a $5,000 reward to any information that leads to an arrest in this case. Now, we have been questioning multiple individuals in relation to this case as we piece this together, because we really have to reconstruct it to know exactly what took place and to make sure that appropriate charges are brought when we make the charges. But I cannot emphasize enough that we will pursue every avenue available to us, and we're doing it unceaselessly. Never ceasing. All of us have been up for hours and hours and hours, and I will tell you, we are not going to stop until we get this case solved. If anybody has any video information or videos they believe that they have taken that will help us in this investigation, I'm going to give you all an email address. It's spelled starcenter@montgomeryal.gov. Again, that is starcenter@montgomeryal.gov. My personal opinion is this was very, very much preventable, because individuals who pulled the trigger are responsible for this. They carried those weapons into this crowd, and at any time they could have walked away from this or walked away from whatever was happening, but they did not. And a bullet, once fired, does not come back. Montgomery's a good town, full of fighters, full of good people. We will not tolerate this. And I will guarantee you that. Thank you.
I want to make a couple of points of clarification. I want to thank Chief and again all the men and women of the Montgomery Police Department, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, FBI, Capitol Police, DA's office, everybody that has been a part of this over these last several hours. Also recognize some of the council members that were here. I know we had council members Riley, Johnson, and Mitchell, who were also out there last night with some of the families as well. So I want to recognize them. And again, that's about 3/4 of the council that has either been there or here. So it shows you again level of involvement, level of seriousness we're taking this as a city. But I do want to make a couple of points of clarification I've seen in some early reporting. This was in no way related to the events that were happening in the city. It was not related to Alabama State University's homecoming. I went to Alabama State University's homecoming, had an opportunity to meet with community members, leaders, alumni, fans, as well as the president and his staff and board of trustee leaders. Great event, fantastic for the city, and again, very few problems were had there. This was not connected in any way to the Morehouse Tuskegee Classic. Again, had the opportunity to talk with community leaders, the president, both institutions, corporate leaders, Walmart and others. Great event, great crowd, really, really great feedback, seeing people of all ages come out to witness what has been a big weekend planned in our city for several weeks. So I want to be clear that where this happened was not a sanctioned party or gathering by any of those entities, be it the HBCU Classic Weekend or Alabama State University's homecoming or Morehouse Tuskegee's homecoming whatsoever. That's a local place with a local establishment, and unfortunately most of the victims, as far as we know, were local and unaffiliated with the institutions or those activities that I mentioned. They were not connected to the Alabama State Fair. So again, a lot of people out there, a lot of preparation, a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice on behalf of dedicated law enforcement professionals. Nothing out of the ordinary there. So I want to stress that, because I think sometimes there's a lot of things out there, in particular on social media, that potentially people try to craft and play detective. We've got great detectives here and throughout who are already on this, and I just want to make sure that's clear, so as not to besmirch any of those organizations that were doing so much and have done so much to bring people here to our city. Second thing I want to say is that when you have people who are willing to draw down in a crowded area, that's reckless and dangerous enough. When you have people who are willing to do that with police officers in plain sight within short distance, I'm not sure if those people can be reacclimated to our society. I'm not sure that they can be productive citizens in our society. If you're that determined to try to take someone's life at the expense of others, I'm not sure those are people that we can allow back into our society, because the risk is just too great. And I want to thank again our law enforcement professionals and everybody who helped us identify some suspects, who helped us identify and apprehend some people who were close by, some people who had guns on them. Now, it was yet to be determined whether or not those guns were connected to this crime, but certainly had guns on them. And we're going to find others. But when people are that reckless when it comes to human life, that's a problem. And that's a problem that's going to be a lot deeper than what we'll talk about, at least here today. But it's something that I think we have to talk about as a community. We have to have some tough conversations around that. Who wants to be saved and who can be saved? Not everybody wants to be saved. And we have to find out who those people are. And we have to take things in our perspective to be proactive to protect this community. There's too many good people here working hard, doing great things to help this community prosper and move forward, for it to be just set on fire by people who are just committed to destruction and committed to bringing about physical harm regardless of who it comes to, because of their short-sighted emotions and how they deal with conflict and how they deal with disagreements. Conflict and disagreements are as old as mankind. How we deal with them is the only thing that's changed. And so it used to be a time when there was a disagreement, might be a fist fight. I'm born and raised in Montgomery. I've seen plenty of them. And it was that. And now we're in this place where you don't do that because everybody feels like they have to have a gun. Everybody feels like this is the Wild Wild West. And so you lose innocent people over something very simple that could be worked out, that even maybe without pushing and shoving, could be de-escalated. And we have what we have now, innocent people who are harmed and many more who are impacted. So I just wanted to mention that. And then finally, I want to say this: $5,000 isn't enough to bring the cowards to justice. I put $20,000 on that, and we're going to make that $25,000.
Maybe 50.
We had another $25,000 from our city council president, from the council that's here. Thank you. Thank all of you. And this shouldn't be about reward money. You should feel compelled to come forward because innocent people were harmed last night, and most were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Could have been any one of us. I was just out of town the weekend before. No different. And we got to make sure that, again, we don't accept this. And so I thank our city council for just doing that. But $50,000 is what we're going to be right now. And we want those who know to come forward. Not because you want the money, because you know it's what's right. And you know it's the right thing to do for people who should not have been in this situation, that have been harmed by it. More importantly, to remove the people who were behind this. And I want to be very, very clear. We're going to see this all the way through. And if there's legislation we need to change, then we'll change legislation. There are things we need to change in the bail and bonds laws, then we'll change the bail and bonds laws. But we're not going to just sit here and do the same thing over and over and over again. We're not going to do that. That's not fair to the victims. It's not fair to the families. It's not fair to this community. We're just not going to do that. So if we have to tighten things up, if we have to take a different position, then so be it. We'll do that. But dangerous criminals and people who are this reckless with human life don't deserve to be free. They don't deserve to walk our streets. That's not anything you are promised. That's something that is an opportunity, is a blessing. And if you can't do that, then you don't need to be on our streets, period. So with that, I'll open up for any questions you may have for myself, Chief Grayboys, and we'll take them there.
Chief, Marty Roney, Montgomery Advertiser, could you verify the name spellings of the deceased victims, please? I'm sorry.
Certainly, sir. Jeremiah Morse is, from the spelling I have at present, Jeremiah, last name Morris.
Yes, sir.
And the other victim is Shalonda Williams, spelled Shalanda, last name Williams.
Are they both Montgomery residents?
At present, we believe so.
All right. Any other questions?
Do we have any indication of what led to the initial altercation?
At present, we know, like I stated earlier, one individual got targeted, and then an exchange of gunfire took place. We We are still investigating, you could state, the motives and the reasons behind some of that. We do have leads coming in, though, that are helping us shape that, but I can't say further than that, because like I stated before, I am not gonna compromise anything, because this is gonna be a very complex investigation with multiple suspects when we finish it up.
How many officers were working in the downtown area last night?
I would have to refer to my worksheets, but I know that we had at least 5 within close proximity to this case.
When you say close proximity, I mean 50 feet?
I'm
100
talking within, like, running distance. Okay, but like I stated, I would have to check if you want an exact number, but I can talk about the folks who responded to it and how fast they did, and they were very fast on that. When the mayor said that there was an officer not 50 feet away, he was right.
I'm gonna ask this question with an apology beforehand, because I know how hard y'all been working and how nerves are raw. But my editor told me to ask it. Does this mean downtown Montgomery is unsafe?
Okay, can I answer that first? You get took off. Let me say this. You know, I think when you get in a car accident, you say driving is unsafe. You know, I don't think that downtown Montgomery is unsafe. Let me be very clear about that. I think we have some reckless and careless people who did something very stupid last night that cost 2 people their lives and multiple people impacts on their lives from now until. I think the investment in technology that we have increased just over the last several months has proved beneficial. I think our police department, Chief Gray Boy's outreach with the Downtown Business Association has been productive. I think our conversations with major stakeholders in that area, whether it's the State Capitol Police, whether it's those that assist with the retirement systems of Alabama's buildings, as well as our entrepreneurs and small business owners. There's been a great collaboration, teamwork, and effectiveness there. The fact that we are having discussions right now in our city council about investing hundreds of millions of dollars to further grow downtown through tourism and things that benefit our city overall, I think is an indication that we believe downtown is safe. And again, I'll go back to what I said before. You had thousands of people who were downtown. We had the investiture of Dr. Anthony Lee over at Huntington on Friday. I mean, just a great, you couldn't really ask to me for better weekend weather and activity involved to see people from all around coming through our city and coming through these spaces for different reasons at different times. What we had were some individuals who decided that they were going to put innocent lives at risk because of whatever issues or whatever disagreements or whatever conflicts they had. And I don't think it would have mattered if it was on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue or it was on the steps of the Capitol. I think that was going to happen. And what we have to do is we have to make sure that from our standpoint, we send a strong message, a direct message, that this is not acceptable. And if you do it in our city, you're going to pay a heavy price. And you're going to pay a heavy price, and the public's going to be aware of it. And if it means making sure that there's a public example made of the people that are behind this, so be it. You just heard the city council, man, to what we just said as it relates to this reward. This should not be about that, as I said a second ago. But if that's what it takes to bring these people to justice, if it takes, again, us advocating to our judges, it takes advocating to our legislature about some laws that need to be changed about repeat violent offenders, even if it's just for Montgomery County, then we'll do whatever we have to do. So I don't think that's an indication on downtown. I think it's an indication on the individuals who are responsible for this. This is not about the location. This is about the people involved. And this is about the recklessness and the decisions they made that have impacted many, many other people beyond themselves. And they have to be held accountable for that. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure they're held accountable to it and to make sure other people understand just what that accountability costs. All right? Because if you take 2 lives here, you impact as many as they have, again, it wouldn't matter if it was around the corner from our house. the same thing should apply. That you ought to have a level of respect and dignity for human life. That's what being in a civilized society demands. And if you can't be in a civilized society, you don't need to be on our streets, period. And so this is not about downtown, it's about the individuals combined. Chief Grayboys and I talked about technology from drones to cameras leading up to this. And again, by and large, across the board, our partners in law enforcement, our community has responded very, very well. Couldn't be more proud of how this community embraced everything that was going on here, all at one time. Men and women in Montgomery Police Department, outstanding job. All of our partners in law enforcement, outstanding. And again, if you got people that are from here to down this hall, and they're willing to do something, I don't know there's anything a drone or camera or any other amount of men and women are going to do. But I also think that will help us close this case very swiftly. And I think that the community's partnership and the community's interest in it will help as well. We've got a lot of great feedback, a lot of officer support, and those are people who don't necessarily come downtown all the time, and they don't necessarily stay out past 9 or 10 o'clock. But they know this is their community, and they have pride in their community. They want to make sure that we don't let some people disrupt and destroy some of the things that too many people have put a lot of time and effort and energy in doing. So I want to respond to that question because, again, I think it's very, very important for us to understand when we partner with our city, when we partner with our county, and our business owners and our faith leaders and grassroots leaders here, it's to serve everybody, wherever part of town that may be. And unfortunately, sometimes people with bad intentions tend to go where innocent people are. But they have to pay a price. They have to pay a heavy price. And they have to pay it swiftly. And we need to make sure that they do that at whatever the cost. And if $50,000 doesn't get it, we'll go out and we'll get some more. But we're going to find the people who are behind this. And I promise you, there will be some changes. There will be some changes because this is going to be an example for some people. We're not going to keep coming back here having these press conferences because stupid people do stupid stuff that costs people's lives. We're not going to keep doing that. If they're reckless and they're dangerous, they don't need to be on the streets. They need to be somewhere where it doesn't matter what they do, what they think about themselves, because they should not have that impact on others. And so whatever that cost is, so be it.
To follow up on that question, is it responsible for the city of Montgomery to continue to bring thousands of people in when, even though these weren't related, it wasn't related to anything, you still had the Ferris wheel right around the block from where this happened? Yeah. And we have low numbers of police officers. They're doing the best they can. I understand that. But 5 officers, you know, for an area that large, it seems like a low number. I mean, do we need to not bring events like this into the city until we have more officers?
I'll let Chief get to the manpower issues. I'm not sure how many people are knowing down there on that shift at that time. But no, I think the city of Montgomery, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We're a city that, you know, really has tremendous pride in what we do. And, you know, I didn't get a chance to go out to the fair yet. I was looking forward, I am looking forward to getting out there, but I go out there every year. The thing that I'm always impressed about from the time I was growing up here is what the Kiwanis Club does for so many people, not just in our city, but in our area. And I say that because the fair is a big part of bringing in funds and revenue. And that's a big operation that our police department and sheriff's department and so many folks work hard on year round. And to have that along with Alabama State University's homecoming, to have that along with, you know, having dignitaries in town for Huntington College's presidential investiture, to have that along with the Morehouse Tuskegee Classic is something that our men and women in law enforcement are trained to do. They are committed to do it. And I think for them and our partners, there's been a great amount of collaboration with our partners in law enforcement and also the community. We've had retired law enforcement officers point out things to me and tell me different things. And it's great I've had people call and text me who are retired to talk about things they're seeing in their neighborhood, in their community, at an event. So we always have additional eyes and ears when we're doing things like this. And I think when you have the type of working relationship that's not transactional, that really is about working with our Capitol Police, our Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, that's also working with our federal partners, because we're in constant contact with them. I think it makes these type of events certainly not only possible moving forward, but I think it encourages us. The fact that, again, I know that the number you mentioned that you brought up before, these are people who, listen, this could have been much worse. These are people who have no regard for how many law enforcement officers we have. They're that type of individual. And I think for us to have the sheriff of our county here, to have our police chief here, again, it shows a collaboration. It shows the working relationship that we have, that doesn't matter about jurisdictional roles. To have our city council, our county commission partners here, it doesn't matter. We all live here. We all want to see this community thrive, whether it's a concert or whether it's a race on the river, whether it's a 5K for charity. It doesn't matter. We want to see those things take place, and I feel very confident and felt confident going in to this weekend that we were more than prepared, and that we were ready to handle just about anything that would come up. And Chief and I probably talked several times throughout the week, several times on Friday, and then a couple more times even yesterday about just kind of where things were. And I want to say this: the act of one or two individuals, kind of back to your point, doesn't cloud the entire community. The community has been great. The community has been helpful, has been outgoing, very, very supportive across this city. And we commend them for that, and they have responded. You've gotten some of the messages I've gotten to not approving and not liking what's happening, not going to settle for that as well. They're as angry as we are. And I appreciate that, because they understand what we're doing in this city and in this region, and they understand what so many folks around the walls and those that are here in our community do to try to bring events to downtown, to other parts of Montgomery, so that you can unwind with your family, you can unwind with your friends, you can invite people here. And I want to say this, and I'll let it Chief give final remarks on the manpower thing. If what happened here only happened here, I might be concerned. And although I'm concerned about why this happened, I know enough, and I talk to enough mayors around the state and enough mayors around the country to know that we all deal with it. It's our worst nightmare, probably, short of a law enforcement officer or a first responder having something serious happen to them. No one wants to have the term mass shooting affiliated with their community. And we all talk about that consistently, about how you prepare, how do you plan, and then how do you respond. And I think the fact that we put so much time, effort, and energy in that not only helped us within 2 hours corral some people who they don't have some ties to this, they have some ties to something bad that happened. I can promise you that. They're not just innocent bystanders. Because of that planning, preparation, and response. So I think we're more than capable of being able to handle events like this and others. We've done it with Buckmasters. We do it with the Salute the Veterans Bowl. We do it with concerts. We do it with other events here all the time with the help of everybody that's in this room. And I'm proud to be able to work with all of them in various capacities to get those things done. We'll continue to do that. We aren't going to let one or two bad apples spoil the bunch. We're going to find those that are rotten, and we'll get them the hell out of here.
I'd like to address something here, and I want to clarify. When I was stating that there were 5 within, you say, walking distance, that number did not include the folks who also responded in their vehicles. as the mayor just alluded, we had one officer who was so quick on the scene, he was transporting a victim before you could say even the ambulances got there. The response was so quick, okay, we were taking people into investigative, you could say, custody a short distance away. Okay, while I can't tell you how fast I got here, I know I got here pretty fast. This response of our units and our officers, this was not a manpower issue. We had plenty of manpower. We had darn ALEA out there, ATF, other federal partners, Sheriff's Department. I mean, we had a huge response on this and a very quick response. But something you gotta understand with these types of situations, when you know how fast a magazine can be emptied out of a handgun, an automatic handgun, that incident might have only taken 1 or less than 60 seconds. So this was an issue, and one thing I think we all have to be aware of, and I think we don't need anybody misinforming the public, this is an issue of the individuals who pull those triggers. They pull those triggers. They hurt those people. That's who's at fault in this, and that's who we're going after. And we can't let, as a community, as a police department, as law enforcement officers, we cannot let anything sway us or distract us from that purpose. Our response on this was very timely, and we brought a lot of force to bear. But when you have these many individuals get shot, and you have this type of crime scene, you have to do everything right. Because you only get really one chance at that prosecution. And we are going to do everything we can. And we are thankful to all of the law enforcement partners who showed up last night, who are showing up today, and who are helping us. Because we are utilizing, like I stated, every resource. And I'm proud of my detectives and the work that they are doing. I have full confidence in their abilities. And I am so thankful that we can work together as a team to go after these bad actors. But do not forget who's responsible for these shootings. And it's the people who pull those triggers, not just here, but anywhere, but that's who's responsible for this.
I'm sorry, we're coming.
Attorney General Steve Marshall, in commenting about the shooting, he said, I don't know the exact quote, but something about he's concerned about what he called the stubborn refusal of officials in Montgomery to acknowledge there's a serious crime problem here. Mayor, do you have any response to what he said?
I don't know that one could look at our record objectively and what we've done with our city council and say that there's a refusal to acknowledge crime as an issue in the city of Montgomery. I don't know a major city in the state, and I work with all the mayors in this state, that would say that crime is not an issue in their city. I think if you look at our budget, if you look at the amount of money that we have put into technology, that we have put into our first responders, that we have put into recruiting and retaining the very best and brightest in law enforcement, the type of people that we bring in, casting wide net, bringing back part-time officers, really acclimated to Chief Greatboy's suggestions about addressing issues around manpower, talking to our sheriff about great ideas he has about cadet programs, getting people in that pipeline early, working with our community violence intervention program, funding the Office of Violence Prevention with the council's approval, working with our nonprofit leaders, faith leaders, grassroots leaders. I don't know how one could really make that statement and see what we have been doing here over the last 6 years. I think it's very easy to sit back while you're watching college football and talk about something you don't know about. If the Attorney General ever wants to talk to me about what we've been doing, I'd be more than happy to sit with him. I'll go to him and tell him exactly what we've been doing. But I don't need anybody lecturing me about crime. I've had a gun pointed in my face, and I'll never forget. And I wasn't the mayor then, And these people last night won't ever forget what happened to them. And so, you know, I don't need that type of sideline commentary from the state's top law enforcement official. I need solutions. If he's willing to offer some solutions around bail and bond reform, I'm open. We've been talking about that for several years. He's willing to offer some solutions around issues around permitless carry, I'm open. We've been talking about that for several years. So, you know, we've done more than our part. We have engaged community partners that has helped us lower crime in this city. You know, over 26-27%. And we want that number to be 100%. We're not complacent with that. We're not stubborn to the facts that people handle disagreements very poorly, which resulted in why we're here today. But to say that there's been a refusal is just a lack of awareness, lack of information or education. But I'd be more than happy to talk with him or his staff about what we've been doing and to talk about ways that we can collaborate, not only to make Montgomery safer, but to make the state of Alabama safer. Come right here. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
We spoke about the police force's new drones at a press conference recently, and we saw them up in the air last night. How are they assisting specifically in this case?
Drones can be utilized so many ways, not only just for visualizing or chasing suspects if you're in a hot pursuit. They can also be utilized to map areas, and when you map areas, it helps you better locate evidence. As I stated before, we are in the process of reconstructing everything because that is what's going to lead us to a successful prosecution. So drones are utilized in so many different ways that we were really glad to be utilizing them last night. In fact, the ones you saw were being utilized by our allies at Aaliyah because they had specialized things that they could do with us. So that's what I'm saying. We are working hand in hand with all of the other law enforcement agencies. So we are definitely going to utilize every resource we have on this. So thank you for your question.
Are you able to share what types of weapons were used? I know you said there were many.
While I can't give you the specifics on that, I will state that the weapons